believe it or not, your family's eating habits can have a profound effect on your child's academic success. The routine of preparing and sharing meals regularly creates a sense of family and togetherness. Now, through the hustle and bustle of life, of course, life gets in the way, right? And it is important, though, to try to carve out at least some time where you can actually sit down as a family together and around the table and have your meal. Well, education expert Ann Dolan is here today. She's got some of the information behind the science of this. Good to see you once again, Ann.
Thank you, Melanie.
And, of course, the whole idea of the family dinner, it's gone by the wayside. I mean, people are just so busy these days.
It's true. It is true. You know, parents report that they want more time for family dinners, but it's just really so hard to carve out even 20 minutes. But today, let's talk a little bit about how we can do that, because it's so important not only to a child's grade point average, but also kids that have regular family dinners together are less likely to do drugs, drink alcohol, smoke.
Was there a study done to point out all this?
Yes, there have been multiple studies done over the years, but more and more studies came out just this year. A study from Columbia University did a longitudinal study looking at students from the early grades up through high school, and they found that actually the most pronounced benefits were for teenagers.
Oh, wow. And that's the group you think probably will be the least likely to sit down with the family because they're so busy.
Yes, that's so true, and they are. But it's interesting, 52% of teens say they would like to have more family dinners.
So when you sit down with your kids, what is going on that's helping the kids? I mean, there's obviously some conversation.
Sure, absolutely. There's conversation. It's about how is your day? You know, it's a time to reconnect. It's a time that kids know that their parents are really listening and that they're involved and they ask about school. And it's also interesting, Melanie, that studies have shown kids have higher vocabulary levels when they eat regular meals with their families, especially when the parents talk about current events. And this is an even greater result than reading storybooks with your child. So family dinners increase vocabulary more than reading with your child. That's really powerful.
That is very powerful.
Yeah.
I think as parents, we all want to give our kids a boost, and if this is one way we can do it. What kinds of grades are the kids getting that are sitting down with their families versus the other kids? I mean, are we talking A's?
Yes, 40% more likely to get A's and B's.
Unbelievable. Okay, so, you know, we want to accomplish this, but then there's the reality of our lives. So
Sure.
How can we make this happen?
Well, if you're really not having family dinners with your children, it's easy to start out with one. Pick Sunday night. That's usually a night where there's not too much going on. And remember, the research isn't just about dinners, but it's also about meals. So it can be brunch. It could even be breakfast. It could be dessert. Let's say your kids are going many different directions and you're not getting home till 8 o'clock. It can be a family dessert time, too.
Well, I like that. That gives more flexibility, and it doesn't put so much pressure on the parents,
I know.
right?
It's so hard to be a parent these days, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, I think the idea of having breakfast together, I mean, that is at least one meal when you are all in the same house before you all head out. So that might be the time to catch everybody.
It can be.
For a brief moment, you know. But here's the other thing. You don't want it to be gut-wrenching experience for the. I mean, it's not the kind of thing where you want to kind of get on their case about their grades or with their friends or what they're wearing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, then they would associate negative with the mealtime.
Absolutely. So you really want to kind of veer away from questions like, did you get an A on that math test? Or, hey, what's your science grade like? But instead ask questions like, who did you sit with at lunch today? Or what did you play? What games did you play at recess? Or who are you going to go to that party with on Friday night? Questions like that have open-ended discussions are really important. They're more important than, you know, penalizing your child for not doing chores or bringing up something that's negative. It should always be positive. And if you want to think of it like the PNP approach, I know I've talked a little bit about before, you start out with something positive. If you need to bring up something negative, you can give a feedback like something about studying. You know, perhaps we can work on studying for that science test this week, but also end with something positive like, but overall, you're really doing so well in school this year, and I'm just super proud of your effort.
Oh, kids all love to hear that. They want
do.
that old pat on the back, don't they? And what do you do with the child, as a parent, you're throwing out conversation ideas, and you're coming back with nothing? So, I mean, how was your day? Fine. What did you do? Nothing. I mean, the child that doesn't want to share, how do you deal with that?
You know, if you're asking how was your day and you're getting fine or good, then it's a question that isn't going to change. So you've got to kind of turn the corner and ask more open-ended questions. One game that we play in my family that kind of opens up lines of communications is every day I get a word of the day on my BlackBerry, and it's some vocabulary word. And every other day we have a new vocabulary word, and I put it on a Post-it note and I stick it on the counter in the kitchen so everybody can see it. And we practice making sentences and having a conversation with the word, and it ends up being hysterical. And my kids love it. And then we have a list. Right now we have a list of about 8 words that we keep using over and over again. So it's increasing their vocabulary, but it's a way to break the ice. And when they've had a bad day and they don't want to talk about anything, this is a fun way to just kind of get the conversation going.
I love that. And you never know. It might turn up on an SAT or something. And they'll know the answer.
That's what I'm hoping.
Ann Dolan, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks, Melanie.
Great ideas there. All right, coming up next, the Baby Watch is on. Find out why some people are saying, well, we will be seeing a new royal before long. And if you have something you'd like to say, please do email us at letstalklive@tvd.com. We'll be right back.